Suzy Wrong. Joy Drive with Dee and Warren's film, TV and theatre reviewer.
Suzy Wrong, welcome back.
Hi, so good to be with you.
It's good to be with you as well. How are you going up in Sydney with your lockdown?
It's not great, but, you know, you do what you can to get by.
Well, we've joined you now.
Can I just say, before we get into talking about what we're here to talk about, Suzy, and Warren, I don't think you know about this because you're not a massive social media person.
No.
Posted a lovely photo to the social media yesterday about my stepmother had given me a lovely bit of lamb curry and rice when I went down to drop off a little care package. She's a very good cook, and I posted a cute little photo of it next to my computer where I was eating it, and I had my chopsticks just stylishly placed on top, and Suzy Wrong hits me with...
Chopsticks faux pas. You've placed them like they're joss sticks to your ancestors. It's not
sticking
very
out of the
good.
bowl.
Yeah, which I know is wrong, but, you know, Guaylo, do they care?
You know, that like my reaction, like my guttural reaction to it, I was terrified.
Oh, and apparently, and then I have other friends and some relatives in Singapore, and they're all like, this month of all months, why would you do that? And I was
It's
like,
the ghost month, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it the ghost
Hungry
month?
Ghost Festival.
Yes.
So does that mean, was it around this time last year that we started talking to you, Suzy? It must have been.
Yes, we probably had my interview for Hungry Ghost around this time, and then I think my first episode with you talking about was it Drag Race, I think, and Real Housewives was the first week of September, so it's very close to it.
Yes, and we spoke to you about your role in Hungry Ghost as well.
Yeah, because you are, in
That's
fact,
how we met you,
hugely
Suzy.
famous. Anyway.
That's right.
Suzy, we have done our homework and we've watched the show Hacks on Stan. Tell us about it.
Hacks tells the story of an aging stand-up comedian, Deborah Vance, a superstar who finds her long-standing Vegas residency come under threat by an inevitable change in tastes and trends of the entertainment marketplace. She begins working with a 25-year-old bisexual writer, Ava, trying to inject new blood into her material, but the two are not immediately compatible. In this series about intergenerational conflict and the meeting of old and new feminisms. The jokes land beautifully. Actor Jean Smart is phenomenal as Deborah, and many Joy listeners will no doubt enjoy the bitchy quality of her humor, unless you're a very sweet man like Warren. I was a little bit annoyed by the very American tendency to go out of their way to make characters likable, especially in the early episodes, but the writing does go darker over time, and that's when the sparks really fly. There is an unmistakable queer sensibility to the storytelling of Hacks, something that I find reminiscent of Absolutely Fabulous, involving vivacious women without a lot of irrelevant men hanging around for no reason. That said, there are quite a few dishy gay men thrown in the mix with splendid results. If you're a fan of Joan Rivers, Carol Burnett, Carol Channing, Phyllis Diller, then Hacks is the show for you. Now streaming on Stan. Great choice, Dee Mason.
Thank you. I am glad, in fact, that you liked it. I'm more impressed that Warren has taken a look at it. Warren, what were your thoughts?
You know what? I'll tell you what I liked about it. I liked the intergenerational differences, and I thought they were played quite well. And I liked that there was, healthy mutual respect between the two, even though they sort of joked with each other. And I was thinking afterwards, I thought, well, isn't it good how older generations can always learn from younger people and vice versa? And I'd like to see more of that. So it sparked this thinking with me. And I was thinking, maybe some employees should watch this because they could see that, if you've got people of different generations, it actually can work quite well and be quite creative. Look, in terms of the comedy, I've got to admit, and I'm probably the odd one out, I got a couple of laughs out of it, but most of it I didn't really think was that funny at all. It might just be my humour. Maybe I've got a different set of humour. Sometimes I struggle with American comedy as well. I didn't laugh crying on the floor. I did giggle a few times. And I found the storyline in each episode, to be honest, a little bit predictable and boring. And I must say as well, the water police... I mean, do we have to throw in the stereotypical gay, really good-looking character? Do we have to do that? I mean, can't we do something
and
better?
I think that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, well, it didn't appeal to me. I thought, it wasn't my cup of tea, Suzy.
It was interesting. There were a lot of gay people, a lot of queer people around. So I thought that was charming. But I do agree that the story-wise, it was predictable, and it sort of didn't go to very interesting places. For me, it was very, a bit light and throwaway. It got me laughing a lot of times, just the way they quip at each other. I love that sort of stuff. And, it does try to sort of bring some drama into it. It's not sort of a straightforward comedy. It's dramedy, I suppose. And some of it is quite contrived, I think. That, and
Contrived,
they couldn't.
that's the word.
And they couldn't quite decide if she was over the hill or not. Like, they couldn't commit to it. They kind of told you
the comedian.
The story. Yeah. They kind of told you that the story was about her losing her place at Vegas, but at the same time, they worked so hard to tell you how great she was. So, there's all that sort of structural stuff that wasn't great. Just for me, it was just a lot of funny one-liners that I enjoyed.
I liked the fact that, I loved it, like a lot. And I liked, as Warren said, I thought that intergenerational thing was really well done because it's hard to do generation gap, and there's 3 generation gaps between these 2 women. It's hard to do that without falling back on really obvious humour. I think that they did it really well, and of course it's American, so they have to do that learning about, I'm not the apprentice to this, the master. It's in fact flipped and reversed, and they have a sort of mutual benefit from this. I think that I agree with you, Susie. They made her, so they tried so hard to make her dislikable, but she's always going to be Jean Smart, and she's heaven. I thought that the sex dream scene with that absolutely flipped me out because I was like, oh, hang on, wait. Yes. It was like, I went, oh my God, wouldn't that be cool?
That was quite funny, that bit.
Yeah. And then
you're talking about the 2 women, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, yes, Susie. But I thought, isn't that interesting? Because the way that a dream can plant something in your mind that is not about sex, like it's not about that. But in this instance, you're like, well, hang on a minute. Maybe that it left me as a viewer going, well, actually, she is a very hot older lady. And, I just sort of thought...
it was an instance of surprise. Like, I think it does lack that, the predictability of it. The moment when you saw them kissing, you were like, oh no, where's the story going, But actually it was just a dream.
Stopped, I know. And it was just a dream. I thought that I thought that they used race and class very interestingly in this. I thought to use the young black boy who had always idolised her, like such a white thing to do, to beg your parents to take you to see an old white comedian when you're a young black man, and then to adore her so much that you want to go and work for her and then basically become an old white woman. Like, you become so conservative and driven. I thought it was a really interesting use of race and his sexuality in that context.
It was good to see a lot of multicultural, multiracial casting.
And to mess with the formula in that way.
Yeah, you do give them props for that. But I was watching, it kind of reminded me, it made me think, why does Ava have to be a white girl? Well, why is it about 2 white women talking about feminism? For me, that was a missed opportunity. I feel like if they worked harder and made Ava a woman of color, there would be more things to talk about.
Well, exactly.
Maybe.
Then they could do race as well. Like, they could work
and
that
class,
into it.
and
yeah. Well, I think they already have class in there, don't they? She's not like a rich kid. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Maybe they didn't think about it to that level.
I think
it was just meant to be a funny comedy.
Do you know what? The writer might have gone to them and said, "Here's a disabled, bisexual black woman." Maybe even a trans woman, and they said, we'll take one of the 3, but we're not going to put so maybe they went by.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like that.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliantly written. I actually think a lot of I've watched some episodes twice, and I think a lot of the gags you miss in the first thing. It's not just the stand-up comedy, it's the stuff around it. I don't think anybody thinks that her stand-up is groundbreaking. I think it's more the idea of I don't know.
Does it get better towards the end? I watched the first 6 episodes, I must admit, and then on the 6th one I went, I can't do it anymore.
Oh, I like it. It got really dark, I think, at the end. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll finish it.
For me, the second half was better. And Jean Smart is just such a joy to watch.
She's beautiful. I find her terribly attractive.
She's very attractive. Yeah. Very attractive.
And she can play all kinds of nuances. She can be really subtle. She can be really strong. So much to watch.
She's got a nice energy about her as well.
I also like the way they didn't fall into the trope of making her a very nasty woman. Like, she wasn't, mummy dearest. She was just sort of like very annoying. We didn't even get to talk about the relationship between mother and daughter. There's so much in there. It's like she is maternal but not for her own child, that kind of thing. I found all of that like quite interesting. at the end of the day.
So we are talking about Hacks, which is currently streaming on Stan. Suzy Wrong, what are we going to watch for next week? What's our homework?
Next week, we're taking a look at Newsreader, which has just begun screening on ABC or free-to-air in the old language, featuring newsroom dramas based on real events of 1986, complete with big hair and big shoulders.
Fantastic. So it's the Newsreader on ABC TV and
Can't wait.
iView.
Great. Suzy Wrong, thanks so much for joining us.
I hope to see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Thanks, Suzy Wrong.